Damsel in Distress Tarot Maya de
Hello,
account.
my lovelies. So for those of you that are new here and you don't know me and you've never seen me before, my name is Jen. I'm also a published author, and I want to start sharing some of the excerpts from my books that I've written. So the first one I'm going to share is a poem out of a book that I wrote about my life. It's called Stepping Stones to Destiny. Both of these are for sale on Amazon. I don't have enough followers on this account to link it, so I will try and post it in the comments. You can search them by title, or you can use the link in my bio on my other page, Damsel in Distress Tarot. It is listed in the link in the bio there. So the first one is from my first book. This is my autobiography. It's called Stepping Stones to Destiny. I wrote this poem after the loss of my sister-in-law. She died very unexpectedly in a tragic car accident, and I was dealing with a lot of grief at the time, so I wrote this poem. It's called Time. Time is a cruel punishment for the soul. Whether in death or in circumstance, time is the true enemy of life and love. If eternity didn't stand in the way and heaven didn't have locked gates, wouldn't life be great? What if heaven had visiting hours and all you'd have to do is show up? Time is really the enemy. None of us can fight or even win against it. The prayers won't stop it, and it can't be undone once it's done. Time is endless darkness, a longing for more of it. Time, abandoned, long forgotten memories from time spent. The one thing that we all want more of when we know that we're all out of it is time. Watching an hourglass run out of sand, a child grows into an adult, and loved ones leave us in death. There is a constant motion and movement of time. Take it all in, appreciate it, slow it down, and soak it all in before it disappears in time. So that is in this book. There's ghost stories. There's stories about being a psychic medium, grief, loss, tragedy, all sorts of different things that I've survived in my life. So that one's called Stepping Stones to Destiny, and it is also going to be linked in my link tree on my official page, so I will link that down below. So here's a better look at the cover. Stepping Stones to Destiny, that is where that time poem came from, and it is stories about my life. The second book is called The Alabaster, Enchantress of New Orleans. This one's going to be a series. I haven't started book 2 yet, but that one will be in the works here shortly. So this is book 1 in the series. This one is also for sale on Amazon. So again, it will be linked on my official profile, Damsel in Distress Tarot. So this one is a romance novel, A Sight for Sore Eyes. Late one balmy summer evening, deep in the heart of New Orleans, an enchantress contemplated life. She needed some sort of life change, romance, mystery, maybe cast a spell or two along the way. Something was missing, she thought, but what is it? Miss Lee Thibodeau had lived in Louisiana all of her life. For 5 generations, her family owned a very large plantation on the outskirts of town. Lee was a gentle woman, a healer of sorts. Lee was a strikingly beautiful woman, light brown hair with silver streaks that sparkled like her bright blue eyes, and a smile that would light up a room. Her infectious laugh hid the pain of all of the things that she didn't talk about. A true Southern woman, polite and full of charm, mixed with a little sass and loads of sarcasm. For being an introvert, she had no problem working a room or talking to new people who came into the shop. Lee had a small cafe downtown. She wrote books, did some spells, read some tarot cards, and psychic medium work for the locals. Her family had written her off many years before. Lee was the black sheep in the family. She never quite fit in, always speaking to the dead and seeing visions of the dearly departed. Lee always knew that she was special. Her family thought that she might need Jesus. Lee came from a long line of church folk. Pastors tried to show her the light. Her mama thought that it was just a phase that she'd grow out of someday. Her daddy thought that she talked to the devil and worked with demons. She wanted to be a free spirit. Her love of helping others and trying to lend a hand was who she really was. Lee wanted to try something different in life. She wasn't getting any younger, and it was time for a change. One evening, while she was in her cafe, a man came in that clearly wasn't local. Thomas Sarducci was looking for a local woman that people called the Alabaster Enchantress. Something happened when he laid eyes on Lee. She had these eyes that looked right through your very soul, the kind mermaids are said to have, siren eyes. As Thomas broke Lee's gaze, she smiled at him. "Hello there. How may I help you, honey?" in her best Southern charm. Tomas cleared his throat. Yes, ma'am, I'm looking for someone. The locals told me that she goes by Alabaster enchantress. He looks at the ground, not wanting to offend her. Lee laughs. Oh, is that so? I may know of such a person. But first I must ask who sent you. Tomas, well, ma'am, I need her services. You see, I have this case that we can't solve. Word in town is that she might be able to help us to close the case. I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Tomas Sarducci. I'm a homicide detective. Now I'm sure that you can tell I'm not a local. I was just transferred here from Chicago. This case is important. If you can just tell me if Miss Alabaster is here or not, I'll be out of your way, ma'am. Well, Mr. Tomas, you say? I don't really do crime scenes. I work with the already dead. Did whoever tell you, whoever told you, tell you that part? Already dead, Thomas questioned. Ma'am, you mean you talk to dead people? Tomas lets out a huge belly laugh. Come on, these guys must have sent me on a damn wild goose chase. I must be the butt of their jokes, the new guy and all. Lee just smiles. Come take a seat, Mr. Tomas, I'll explain. You see, Lee came from a long line of enchantresses, or as folks in these parts called her, the White Witch. She had what they called the second sight. It usually started early in childhood. Nightmares, visions, shadow people, hearing voices, seeing things that others couldn't. Long ago, Lee knew that she was different. Her grandma Lenora helped her to see that it was a gift, although some days it felt more like a curse. Lenora knew that Lee had the gift, but until Lee was a teenager, it wasn't as strong. It started in dreams mostly, seeing the things that later happened. At first, Lee just thought that it was a coincidence, until things she dreamed started happening all the time. Lenora tried to guide Lee. She taught her a lot before she died, even more after. Mr. Tomas, sir, have a seat. Would you like coffee, tea, or something to eat? This might take us a while. Sure, I'll have a coffee. Black like my soul, he joked. Coming right up, hun. Lee owned a small cafe and a bookstore. Her office and upstairs apartment made things simple. As Lee gets Tomas coffee, the doorbell rings. Hey, honey, welcome in. What can I get you? A familiar face smiles back at Lee. Mr. Beau Boudreaux. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes, Miss Lee? Lee turned around to see Beau, dropped the hot coffee, and looked like she saw a ghost. Beau, oh my goodness, is that really you? So if you'd like more of either of these two books, they are both going to be linked below in the comments as well as on my page, The Damsel in Distress Tarot, and it will be the link in the bio for that one. So both of these books are mine. They are my original creation. I would love for you to read them. So I hope you liked these little excerpts from the books. There is lots more information in both of them, and there will be a sequel to the Alabaster Enchantress. It's going to be at least a 2-part book series, possibly 3, just depends on how much I want to include in each one. And those first 2 are actually both available now on Amazon.